let's jump into the next topic. And we want to, again, thank Matt so much for joining us about the college grad transfers. That's a little bit out of our zone, but Matt knows a ton. And I would have loved to hear him and Ricky, but Ricky had to take a break that we demanded he take. But Matt was absolutely fun to have on. If you want to be on a podcast, check out patreon.com/MLSOutPodcast. But Dave, let's jump into our big board. This is the 6.0?
5.0?
5.0. This is our 5.0. Yes, this is 5.0 on I should just look at the Google spreadsheet. Our 5.0. This is my first time doing it, so if it sucks, blame me. But we're going to go in order of...
You're going to read Ricky's.
We're going to go mock draft order. All right? I think Ricky usually goes last for these.
He does.
Ricky's not here. So I'm going to go last. Yep. I'll read Ricky's, and Dave will read his, and then I'll read mine. And we also want to say, in the 1 through 5 range, we're going to do a cumulative one, where we go 25 through 1, where we gave all these guys points on where they landed, and we'll give you the MVP big board as well. So it's gonna be fun. Definitely check that out in the 1 through 5 segment. Right now we're doing 25 through 16 only. As Dave yawns as I put him to sleep.
Thanks. It's the rain, dude. It's been raining outside so long. It's just kind of got that nice, easy going feel.
Well, hopefully you wake up. Let's start with Ricky's 25 through 16. Starting off at 25, we have Luka Samanic. At 24, we have Cam Johnson from UNC. 23, we have Talon Horton-Tucker from Iowa State. 22, we have KZ Akpala from Stanford. At 21, we have Jackson Hayes from Texas. 20, Lewis King from Oregon. 19, PJ Washington from Kentucky. 18, Tyler Hero from Kentucky. And 17, Nikhil Alexander-Walker from Virginia Tech. And rounding out his 25 through 16 is Romeo Langford out of Indiana.
That's pretty good. Pretty good job of reading Ricky's thing. You even got Talon right.
I knew you were going to bring it up.
That was the only thing I was like, is he going to do it? Is he going to say his name right?
Just wait until mine. I'll just fuck it up.
All right. So for my 25 through 16, I start off with Luka Samanic as well at 25. At 24, I've got Keldon Johnson from Kentucky. At 23, I've got Darius Bazley making his first appearance on a big board for myself.
Shout out New Balance.
Shout out to New Balance right there. I told you guys I wouldn't put him on until I got to watch him play. Got to watch him play a little bit. At 23, I'm bad at counting now. 22, I've got Talon Horton-Tucker from Iowa State. At 21, I've got Tyler Hero from Kentucky. At 20, I've got PJ Washington, also from Kentucky. There's a theme there. At 19, I've got Nikhil Alexander-Walker from
Dave?
Virginia Tech. I'm not going to tell you, it's a secret.
They're blue boys.
At 18, I've got Jackson Hayes, the center from Texas. At 17, I've got Goga Patazde playing internationally for a team that Sean can't pronounce correctly, and neither can I.
Did someone correct me?
I just feel like we always say it wrong, so I just gave up on it.
No one corrected me, so I think I nailed it on the exactly.
Well, that's awesome.
I don't think I screwed up.
And then at 16, I've got KZ Akpala out of Stanford.
Shout out Goga Batazde playing for Mega Burmax.
Yeah, that's why I was like, is it Burmax or I don't know how to emphasize words in Europe apparently. Not my language.
In Europe.
Just all of Europe.
Europe is not your language.
Well, the problem is there's multiple languages in Europe in use.
Of course.
And that is sort of where I get screwed.
1,000 countries.
There's a handful of countries.
There's English. There's Spanish. There's French. There's German. There's
Portuguese.
Italian. Is Italian language? Or do they just speak massively? Do they just speak a lot of English there?
There's Gaelic. Speak with their hands.
There's Gaelic. There's Yiddish, I think. There's Polish.
I was going to say, you have to go for all of the...
Swedish?
Yeah.
Norwegian.
Yep.
All right.
This is just top quality big board material.
Here's my 25.
Can we 16. Big board European languages?
Ooh, yes. That would be... That
might be a Patreon content.
That's good. We can break that down. Let's go to my 25 through 16 before everyone turns off. My 25, I got Talon Horton-Tucker from Iowa State.
Why? You said his name right the first time.
What'd I say? Oh, Talon. Shit. Talon Horton-Tucker from Iowa State. At 24, we have Luka Samanic playing internationally. 23, we have Keldon Johnson out of Kentucky. 22, we have Rui Hachimura from Gonzaga. 21, we have my boy Naz Reid from LSU. At 20, I have Brandon Clark from Gonzaga. I did this immediately after the combine. I was like, his size, way down. I'm higher on him now. At 19, Tyler Hero from Kentucky. 18, I have Nikhil Alexander-Walker from Virginia Tech. 17, I have Nasir Little from UNC. And 16, rounding out, I have Jackson Hayes from Texas. So we have a couple guys we're going to talk about on this one. We're going to talk about Luka, KZ, and Jackson Hayes. Those are the three big ones that we'll talk about, and probably a go into some discussions on some of the other guys as well, but we're going to hit those big three first. I'm going to start off with our boy Luka S, not Luka D. Let's talk about his performance at the Combine because it was pretty impressive. And I think he was kind of on the edge of first round, second rounder. And I think he put himself at least in first round talent at what he did with the Combine. He might not go in the first round, but he definitely showed that he has first round borderline potential and first round value, I think, with what he did at the Combine.
Yeah, no, we got to see him create his own shot. We got to see him play make a little bit. Some of the passing was, I would say, probably average to maybe even above average for a guy of his size and position. Not all of it kind of came through. I think there's a lot of, whenever you get 5-on-5 drills, you're not going to have that cohesiveness because these guys is their first time playing together. But I think he made smart decisions a lot of the time. Defensively, he was able to guard a couple positions. He did get blown past once or twice, but like at the same time, I don't expect him to be able to keep up with the quicker guards, like someone like a Jordan Bone who is like insanely quick and is going to beat anybody off the floor. But no, I think, this was the perfect opportunity for him to come over and make a statement because you got to see him going up against some of the mid-tier college guys, and he held his own and showed up really well. So kudos to him. This was probably the best possible outcome of the Combine for him. And I think I agree with you as far as his first round talent and value is there. I think a team likely will maybe come. I could see a team come up for him.
Really?
Potentially, yeah. Because I think he might be one of those favorite draft and stash kind of guys. Like high value. I don't know if he's going to come over right away, but I think that a team like the Celtics, maybe because they have 3 picks in the first round, with their last pick of that first round grouping, maybe could go with him, or I could see another team maybe moving, back or up for him. I just think that, I don't know, the teams in the 20 through 30 section really want him, but I could see a team kind of jumping up to secure his rights.
Now, one thing I want to ask you is, because they're somewhat similar players, what does Samanich have over Iggy Brazdeikis from Michigan? What are the comparisons that you could see? What are the things that kind of separate Luka in your mind?
I think it comes down to rolling an offense. Iggy at Michigan, we got to watch him play a lot, as opposed to Luka, where obviously the game tape on him much less available. So what you do see might be what he wants you to see, which turns out in his favor a lot of time. When you get the full game logs, though, look, I think Iggy is going. I don't see him being more than like a 7th man on the bench, kind of guy. He can come in, he can take 4 shots, 5 shots a game, and contribute at that level. But he has such a long way to grow as far as his basketball IQ is. Like skill wise, he's got an okay shot. I think actually he has a weird amount of tenacity when he drives with the ball, which is kind of fun. But I think Luka just has more of a well-rounded, principled game, and I think that comes from playing in Europe. And that's you hear about it's been memed to death at this point, I feel, but you get down to the basics of basketball. You play team basketball. Everyone contributes. Everybody does everything. You really work on the finer points of passing, shooting, and teamwork. And Luka has a lot of that in spades. I think his basketball IQ is ahead of his age. So he's a guy where, yes, you might want, to him to sit over for a year, maybe contract-wise, before coming over. But at the same time, I think he could come in and be a bench guy for a couple of years and hopefully mold into, someone in the line of like Dario has, where, or even Nico. Nico was a much better player in Europe at the time when he was drafted by the Bulls and when he came over.
Well, Nico was playing in a much better league as well. And I think one thing, too, is the thing that at least separates them for me is size. I think, Iggy might end up being like a 3-4, where I think Luka shows that he's more of a 4. The guy that really compares, I think that he compares to a little bit is a smaller Isaiah Hartenstein. They show a lot of tenacity as well. They both can stretch the floor a little bit. Luka much more than Isaiah can. But at least watching a couple of the Combine things, I saw a bit of that stick out to me. And Hartenstein has dominated the G League, like absolutely dominated the G League.
I love Hartenstein
for the Rockets.
Yeah.
I just want him to get a shot, and I would love to see what he can do with it. And at least comparing, going back to Brazdeikis versus Samanich, Iggy came in at 6'7" and a quarter. Height-wise, with a 6'9" wingspan and an 8'6" reach, where Luka came in with 6'11" with shoes, an 8'11" reach, and a 6'10.5" wingspan. So he has more size on him, at least height-wise, but he doesn't have the best wingspan.
Right.
At least for Luka. And then you compare the skill tests, and let's at least start with the vert, because that's always really what people care about. Those are the eye-popping things. Luka had a 38 vert, which was crazy for me. And then you look at Iggy, and Iggy only had a 36.5. And you watch Iggy, at least in Michigan, there's a lot of times where he really explodes as an athlete. And now you're just kind of questioning, like, well, then how good is Luka really? Because if he can fine-tune all of that stuff with the size and the leaping abilities, how good of a player can he be? And that's the thing that really excites me about Luka.
Yeah, I think he's got a couple tools to the game, too, which helps him, because he's not just that, like, I'm going to stand in the corner and shoot threes for you, stretch four. I think there is the ability for him to work as a passing out of the mid-post range and being a facilitator. He's able to do multiple things. He can set up plays. He can do handoffs. Like, he's not purely just a stretch four from that point of view. So the fact that he has those extra abilities definitely brings his viability forward, where, like you said, Iggy, yes, he can drive with the ball at times, but for the most part, like, he still has a lot of game to grow.
The cool thing, too, about Luka is he was one of the fastest players, at least in the shuttle run. He had a 3.03, which is in line with Jalen Hands, a point guard, and Kevin Porter Jr., who we talk about being one of the best athletes in this class.
That's insane.
Lined up with Kevin Porter Jr., which was crazy. And Iggy came in at like a 3.17, which is still close.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really cutting hair. That's a 0.14 difference there. And then you look at the shuttle run as well. Iggy ran an 11.06, and Luka beat him by 0.05.
Yeah.
So Luka showed that he was a better athlete. And you watch again Iggy's ability on the floor of Michigan, and you saw that he could really play against college level type of competition. You just wonder if Luka had the same coaching that Iggy had, and he was in the same offense, what he could possibly do. So that was
intriguing,
absolutely exciting. So that's why he jumped up on our boards. Let's move now to KZ Okpala, another guy who was fantastic at the combine, at least when it came to his measurables. I mean, Jesus Christ, you look at this kid, and we talked about his rawness and his growth spurt throughout his career from high school to college, and you see him, and he comes in at 6'9.5" in shoes with a 7'1" and 3/4 of a wingspan with an 8'10.5" reach. I was absolutely pumped when I saw those numbers. This kid is long. This kid is lengthy, and he's got playmaking ability. He's got the ability to score, and that's what he has over guys like Chris Wilkes. He has that size, which is very, very intriguing. Dave, you love KZ. Talk about what his combine kind of did for you and what it did for your big board.
No, I mean, he absolutely, like, here's the funny thing, because if you look 4.0 to 5.0, he was at 22 for me in the 4, and on the 5, he's at 16. So pretty big jump for me. And again, the thing with KZ that really kills me.
For me, it was 25 to 16, or 25 to 15.
Yeah.
So it was a 10 spot jump for me.
It's insane. And we knew he was big. I didn't know he was that big. That's the crazy thing. And he's got amazing size. He's got great strides on the floor. You watch him in the open court. Whenever they get a fast break situation, he has one thing on his mind, and it's not going to take him many steps to get there. Honestly, the thing that I go back to is like, okay, he's going to be good. It's how good is he going to be? How well can he continue to develop his shot from the outside? Because that will change him from being like a good slashing wing to now like he's a do-it-all wing. And that is the ideal situation. You're someone who can stretch the floor. He can ball handle already. Like, he grew up playing point guard, and those handles are excellent still. Maybe not excellent, is the wrong word. They're above average, definitely for his position and his size. So I absolutely love him as a prospect. I think that as he comes along, he is oozing with potential. And I've got a lot of teams that are like, I'm hearing rumors out there. Of course, you got to read through all the propaganda out there, but there's a lot of teams that are like, I could see him going, last spot of the lottery, last 2 spots of the lottery. There's intriguing teams that are looking for someone who has the upside like he can provide.
Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, just think of the Celtics. I mean, they love their wings, and that's a guy that you can just build up.
Yeah.
That'd be absolutely exciting to see what he can do. And you read about, the Semi Ojeleye stuff, where Semi's like always working out consistently, and you just wonder if
Semi's a brick shithouse already.
Well, if you wonder if if Semi gets in the weight room with KZ Okpala and builds up KZ, like, man, that would be scary.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, too, that you look at his athletic testing, and it wasn't eye-popping. It wasn't horrible. Like, it wasn't Nasir Little bad.
Yeah.
Where, Nasir Little's a great athlete, and he just runs, like, horrible times and tests out horribly. So you really question that. He was kind of just middle of the pack there. But the one thing that was exciting to me was he's got, like, a 4% body fat, but he did, like, 9 bench reps. And that wasn't, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing, double digits. And there was multiple guys in double digits.
But it does kind of make fun of the whole Kevin Durant.
Yeah. But that was one less than Brandon Clark. And that was, a little bit better than guys like Luka or guys, like Nasir Little. That's something that's really exciting to me because this guy has so much room to grow.
Yeah.
And he already seems like he's got decent strength. And I don't really know what a bench press is going to do for you in the NBA. Like, oh, sick, you can push off a guy. But I think it's intriguing just to see the potential that his body has to grow still. And we talked about the growth spurt, we talked about the handles, but also just physically getting bigger.
Yeah.
And if he's able to put on mass as well, and he's able to have this innate strength and also build on that, that is extremely, extremely intriguing to me. And the basketball skills definitely need some polishing. They definitely need some time, and he's not going to be a guy that steps in right away and starts at all. But he's a guy that, if a team does really fall in love with him at a workout and they see a smooth stroke and they see his ability to, a quick first step and they see, great vision on tape, I could see him, becoming a lottery pick. And that's why I'm have him at 15, just outside the lottery. But maybe Miami falls in love with him and they end up taking him at 13. Maybe Charlotte falls in love with him. Not really sure how he fits with those teams, but if they fall in love with the potential and they think they can develop him, he might be a guy that pops off into the lottery.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumors about like the Jazz and who's right after them. But yeah, there's in that
Celtics at 23, I think.
Yeah, so you've got
it's the Sixers. So I think the Jazz are picking 23, Sixers at 24.
You've got a lot of teams in that just post lottery range that are intrigued by him. And again, like he's got a good shot. The question is, the free throw percentage in college, 67% both years. So you got to wonder, like, all right, can we work with him to get that up? Because that's generally below the, like, everybody wants to be like, well, if you're below 70 in college, you're not going to be a great shooter in the NBA. Yeah. He did shoot 36% from 3 on 3 attempts a game. Not a lot. I would say a good percentage of those shots were wide open threes due to the Stanford offense. Ball movement on there, pretty good, but again, you're getting this guy because he can grow into a three-point shooter. He can do that. But what he can do for you right now is he puts the ball on the court. He drives. He's got a good spin move coming off the drive. He gets people going. Jab step works well. So I think offensively, gifted. Defensively, you've got that insane wingspan, decent vert. So he's got the tools. It's just like, how well can you work with a guy who has that level of potential, Yeah,
and I think the biggest thing with him is just going to a team that can develop him.
Yeah.
And again, I think you're right. He's not going to be a guy that immediately comes in and makes an impact. He's going to be need to be a guy that has some time to grow. But then we look at him and he's only 20 years old, and he just turned 20. He's a fresh 20. Turned that April 28th. So you have a long time for him to grow and become the player that you initially want him to. But I think that some things can be fixed too. It seems like he has kind of a wide shot, at least when he's holding the ball above his head. It seems like he can kind of tighten that elbow in a little bit, and maybe he becomes more of an efficient shooter, especially from the line. But if you can work on that stuff and you can build that up, I mean, he's going to be extremely, extremely interesting because of that body. Let's move to the final guy, and we're talking about potential here, Jackson Hayes. Nothing really stood out too much from the combine for me, but at least Hayes, he's a guy that is so raw. And the biggest reason why he's not higher for me is just because that production wasn't there. KZ, not that great of a shooter. You mentioned the under 7%, but he obviously had, decent numbers, at least from 3. And the rawness there, I think that, being that size and showing enough handles
it's
at
the
that
willingness
size
too.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I really like. But Jackson Hayes, it's like, does he have that big man drive to be great? And you look at the rebound rate, you look at the lack of it, really, that stands out to me as, what are you doing there? Do you not know how to rebound? Were rebounds just not coming towards you? Were you just like in the wrong spot? Or is it something where you just don't have that next level to chase after every single board? Because being a big man that big and being under 8 rebounds a game, That's extremely worrying to me. That was something that was worrying me about good old Justin Patton from Creighton. And that was the reason why I like Jared Allen above him, was because Allen was a guy that was going after every single ball. He was showing that tenacity both defensively and on the boards, where we kind of saw it with Hayes, at least block-wise. He was protecting the rim, but we didn't see it rebounding-wise. And that's something that worries me as a defensive big. You're going to need to be able to do both. And maybe it was just something that it really didn't pop off in the limited minutes he got in Texas. But that's something that worries me is, can he develop and show that next level what's inside of you to really become a great NBA center?
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's, you were pretty much right on with your 4.0. Mine, he dropped from 13 to 18. Ricky, he dropped 3 spots as well. So I think we were all kind of like, all right, what we've seen out of you is pretty much what we got all year. You didn't put on any amount of muscle mass really since the season ended. It didn't look like I'm sure you kept in shape. Everybody had insanely low body fat percentages, by the way, except your boy Naz.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I feel like he's one of those guys who really will benefit from strength and conditioning coaches at the NBA level. He's someone who, I'm not saying he's going to have a Joel Embiid transformation, but 20 pounds of muscle on him would go a long, long way. And I think that's the thing is you have to look at him as like you said, he's a raw prospect, but at the same time, rim running, elite defensive center potential. That's a guy who could be a staple at your 5 for years.
Yeah. Then I look at him, and some people are going to call me a hypocrite, I think, because I'm worried about Bol being 208 and being a center. But and then you're like, well, Jackson Hayes is only 10 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
I look at that, and the thing that really stands out to me is Jackson Hayes' weight is much more distributedly even, and he's a guy as well that has such a low body fat percentage where, the moment he adds on muscle, because it's going to be easier for him to add on muscle with his body fat being so low, the second he gets into an NBA weight room, he's going to be able to gain 20 pounds.
Yeah.
He can get up to 230, I think, fairly easy. Where Bol,
let's hope so.
You're going to need to have weight on him just in general. He doesn't have that. He already has a high body fat percentage. You don't know if he can do that much cardio to cut down that fat and then add on that weight.
Can we say that with an asterisk? Because he might have a higher body fat percentage because of the fact he couldn't work out as much because of his injury.
And yes, that's fair.
Thank you.
But also,
just get tossed up.
But also, it was a 3 to 4 month injury that happened in November.
He had been wearing the walking boot for a long time, to be fair.
Okay, but when do we think he could have started working out?
I'm not going to guess at medicals.
Okay.
It's a losing game, as we learned with Mark Fultz.
It's true, but I worry so much about his ability, especially with his lineage, where I don't have that worry with Jackson Hayes because we don't have that baseline.
Right.
We don't have that baseline of Manute Bolt being in the NBA and not being able to add a single pound. That's the thing that worries me about Bol, where Jackson Hayes, it wasn't great we saw, but hey, you still got a 7'3" and a half wingspan. That's awesome.
Yep.
9 feet and 2 inches, 2.5 inches of a standing reach.
Yep.
Awesome there as well. Nothing elite like Bol, but you're at least seeing a very young center with a lot of body potential. And then I just worry, now, is he just young and that's why he didn't perform as much as we liked in college?
Or is there a motor?
And is there a motor issue? And that's the real questions that I want to see nailed down from Jackson Hayes. And I think we're going to see really what those answers are coming out more. Once we start hitting that second week of June, we're going to start seeing a lot of the reports come out from private workouts and all this stuff. And then you just want to start looking at all these NBA mock drafts, especially the guys that are really connected, like the Draft Express guys. What are they saying about Jackson Hayes? Is he rising or is he falling? And if he's rising, I think that's just going to be because he's really impressing in
private workouts,
in private workouts and interviews.
Yeah.
So maybe they're going to be able to see that motor, and maybe we're going to see some great things come out from Shaka Smart about Jackson Hayes and the work that he can put into. I think they're going to learn more about Jackson Hayes. And the more that they learn about it, the more we'll learn about it, and the more we'll get at least of a background of what he really is makeup-wise. Yeah. If he starts to fall, that's going to be a huge concern to me. If he falls out of the lottery, that's going to be a concern to me.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of us had him as a stretch, basically just slapping him right on the Hawks. Like, look, Hawks, you need a center. He's the best center on everyone's board. Go ahead. You're going to reach on a guy, who is a positional need for you. And we even heard the feedback on ours. It's like, look, man, he's not that good. He's just, a couple people were like, look, he's just another guy at center. Like, you can go get a veteran center to do basically what he's going to do for you for a couple of years. So is he worth that high of a pick in this year's draft? And I think that's a valid question. So it's going to be interesting, like you said, come private workouts and what comes out of those.
Yeah, and he's, again, like, you're right about at least slapping on a guy and slapping on things.
I feel bad because it was almost, it wasn't lazy on our part, but it was just the clear need of a team.
But if we look at our big boards right now, right, at least for you, this is 4.0, my bad. I'm looking at this. I was looking at the wrong one. If we look at, my big board right now, I have 2 centers above him, Goga and Bobo. If I'm a lottery team, I'm not going after Bobo. Although I think Bobo is that talented, I think that he is definitely worth, the ranking I gave him in my big board. He's extremely talented. I just have so many outside worries of his talent. Right. So that's why I think that if you're a team like the Hawks that are trying to get a guy that can help you for sure, because I think this is going to be a playoff team soon in the next 3 years, I would rather have a guy that's going to be playing for me than a guy that might be just an iffy, wishy-wash, a game-to-game basis. Where, maybe teams don't like Goga's, workouts where, Jackson Hayes could rise up above them. He with the center position so finicky where, Jackson Hayes is younger than Goga, so that's going to give him an edge. He doesn't have to worry about coming over internationally. I think he has the speed over Goga. So if they're thinking that, hey, let's just add on the size and the motor's going to be there, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be shocked if Jackson Hayes goes in the lottery. That's the thing. But if we see 2 centers go above him, then I'm going to be really concerned about what he really is. Yeah,
I'd be pretty shocked. And even I finally gave it and I swapped Goga just 1 spot above Jackson Hayes on my board. And I mean, yes, part of it might be a byproduct of sitting across from you week after week, hearing your rants about this Goga guy. But at the same time, like, he has a complete game. And that's like, you watch him, he has a decent motor. He's playing against, grown-ass men, doing his thing, and succeeding at a high level. So, and we've seen guys out of that same league come over at the center position and play pretty well at the NBA. So, it's less of a question mark at this point. It's more of a, like, what are you looking for your prototypical center? Are you looking for a do-it-all? Are you looking for a guy who is a rim-running defensive SWAT machine? Like, or are you looking for a stretch 5, You have your options, but it is a thin class at center. And I know after that, you're left with, some older prospects or some ones with even bigger question marks, like a Charles Bassey or Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is, like, Gafford is similar, the most similar to Hayes. And the reason why Hayes is above him is because of the age. But if we're talking strictly skill, Gafford is more skilled than him. But if we're talking real ranking guys, taking in talent, taking in potential, that's why Hayes is up here. Yeah. Gafford, you don't have to worry about adding weight. He's already pretty solid where he is. Very similar size just in general too. Coming in around 6'11". Both guys rim runners, speedy guys. So I mean, really, it just comes down to that age and then the ability of maybe Jackson Hayes can end up developing a little bit more.
I'm gonna Gafford. That Gafford decision still bugs me at the end of the day. That he's going back to college.
It was stupid. Because he would be in the same position that Jackson Hayes was just last year. Yep. Final thoughts? Any guys that we didn't talk about that you just want to throw out there?
As always, Ricky's got Lewis King in his section. Just staple that name on.
Forgot about him at first.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he forgot. That's why we were waiting on him. Remember, he forgot about it. He had our boy Taco Fall at 25.
He did. He did have Taco Fall at 25. Darius Baisley for me is my guy that I finally gave credit to because.
What's the biggest thing he needs to work on?
I mean, I got to watch him play against something other than chairs. Yeah.
So what impressed you at least, or was it just seeing him in general?
His ball handling and ability to pass, like that was the thing. He was always known as a ball handling wing, and it was like, okay, cool. I've seen those right now. You're looking at someone even at the top of the draft with like an RJ Barrett, like he's able to ball handle, he's able to facilitate, he can score. With Darius, the question is like his shot. How much different did it look, from his high school tape through the shooting? It looks like he tweaked it quite a bit, actually. I'm hoping for the better. I think a lot with him is just going to come down to those team workouts because, I mean, if you've had a year to work in a company like New Balance, I'm assuming they've thrown, a bunch of scouts and guys talking to him, coaches, business people to go, hey, this is how you interview. This is how you do this. This is how, like, he should be the most prepared for these private workouts, which makes me think that he's probably going to be one of the highest risers towards this last month of the draft wrap up.
The one thing too would be, I'm interested to see how people start to compare, especially us, Baisley to Akpala, because Baisley is younger, both longer, like 6'9" wings that have ball handling abilities. So what's going to be the real deciding factor at the end of the day? I think I just want to see more out of Baisley to put him into my big board. He was at like 26, 27, so it wasn't really that too far off. But I just wanted to see a little bit more from him. But he's a guy that, I mean, you're looking at him. He was a 5-star recruit, did not go to college. This could be a guy that is just so absolutely raw that you could build up.
We going to talk Mitchell Robinson here?
Yeah, I mean, he could be a guy that, people totally sleep on because you didn't see him enough out of him. And he could be a guy that, 5 years from now is one of the better players from this draft, and we just slept on him because we didn't play in college. Yeah. So he's going to be a very interesting prospect. And the only reason why I brought up final thoughts is just so I could talk about Naz Reid.
I figured.
I don't give a shit about what you say about.
Well, I'm giving
Darius
everybody.
Baisley.
Look, we know it's Ricky does Lewis King, I do Baisley, you do Naz Reid. We've all got our guys in that last section who we want to give love to.
I mean, everyone's gaining like 2 inches from putting shoes on, and my guy only gains an inch. So this guy doesn't care.
What kind of shoes does he wear?
Screw your damn 6'8" and 7 fits. My boy is 6'9" and a half. He's proud of how tall he is. He's a big boy. He's coming in at 255. he's coming in with a 14% body fat.
Boy.
But he's a guy that, come on, you're telling me he's coming in at 6'9" and a half with a 7'3" and a quarter wingspan. Love that. And you're also talking about a guy with a smooth ass stroke, with some speed on him, with some size on him. He's going to be a lovable guy. That's what I'm telling you. If he's got that motor, and he
decides to use that motor is the biggest asterisk that I'm going to toss out there, Sean.
Hey, he's coming from LSU. We look at Ben Simmons. When Ben Simmons turns that on, he's one of the best young damn players in the NBA. So that's what I'm saying with Naz Reid. Naz Reid is just basically Ben Simmons who could shoot.
LSU needs like a coach in there who can just motivate kids. They seriously do, because it's just nobody cares apparently. That's their biggest flaw for their best players the last couple of years.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just say it. Whatever.
You're not
motor
wrong.
Concerns are there.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I agree. Naz Reid, if he can slim down a little bit on the body fat percentage there, get a little bit leaner, be more active in the game. Defensively would be nice that he's more than just on the court. Again, offensively you killed though. Like he's got a great stroke. He can be a stretch. I think he's got the right skills offensively. It's just a question of how much that motor questions are going to be true.
Also, here's from the shooting part. From the left break, 40%. From the right break, 80%. From the corner left, 75%. From the corner right, 40%. From the corner top of the key, 40%. My guy's a 40% 3-point shooter. That's what I'm telling you. I mean, yeah, he's not going up against anybody, but who cares? Who cares, man? Love it. Shout out Naz Reid. You're my guy. Also coming in with a cool 32.5 vertical, which I think is mine.
It's pretty god awful.
Love him. He also had a 3 bench press, which
wait, he only did 3?
Yeah, he only had a 3.
He got out benched by KZ Akpala.
Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below about Naz Reid. How high are you?
How can you be that big without any upper body strength?
He's the best player in this draft. He's going to slim down, and he's going to add on some weight, and he's going to be able to lift a car.
Talon Horton Tucker. If you want to talk about guys who can slim down and be interesting, like, that's a guy.
I don't care.
That guy's 6'2" with a 7-foot fucking wingspan.
You said his first name. I already tuned out. Shout out Naz Reid. Love you. Come on the podcast anytime you want.